There is a saying that in every university, there are three kinds of students: the ones that came to learn, the ones that came to flex, and the ones that came with a secret so big it could destroy them. Sandra Williams was the third kind. She wore expensive clothes like royalty, sprayed expensive perfumes, and spoke with a flawless British accent that made you swear she was born in England. But here's the part no one knew: Sandra was not rich. She was just a struggling third year student in Lagos, living on expired noodles, old textbooks, and a dangerous lie that would change her life forever. Her father had died when she was only 8 years old, and her mother hawked abacha just to train her in school. But unlike other students from poor backgrounds who knew what they wanted out of life, Sandra carried herself like the daughter of a billionaire, mingled with girls whose parents were movers and shakers of the society, and even changed her name from Sandra Okafor to Sandra Williams. While her poor mother toiled every day under the scorching sun to make ends meet, Sandra kept demanding for money, which she used to finance her reckless lifestyle. She requested for money from her mother every week, to the extent that that poor woman had to part away with her business capital one day after Sandra had told her that the school would expel her if she didn't make payment for a particular course. Sandra ended up lavishing the money on her birthday party, while her mother sat alone in the house crying. That was not all. Sandra believed that in this part of the world, where the poor are invincible and the rich walk on red carpets, one has to fake it till they make it. But I guess she forgot that it's every day for the thief and one day for the owner, a lesson she will learn the hard way. One night, as Sandra laid on her small mattress in the corner of the small face-me-face apartment she was sharing with her friend Anita, staring at the cracked screen of her old BlackBerry phone and scrolling through her fake Instagram account with data she borrowed from MTN, she came across a DM from a verified account. "Hey, I'm David. You are so beautiful. Can we be friends?" She clicked on his profile and her heart skipped a beat. Ha! David Richard, the only son of Governor Richard. You see life, she thought. Me that cannot even attract a fly in real life. But online, a whole governor's son is dying for me. Sandra, you too much, she hailed herself. Though Sandra knew David was way out of her league in real life. But online, as Sandra Williams, the wealthy heiress who traveled the world, wore expensive designer clothes, and partied with celebrities, she could win David's heart. And so, the game began. They began chatting every night. She told David she lived in Banana Island and that her father was an oil magnate. Every new week, one new lie. But Sandra didn't want to stop. How could she, when for the first time in her life, someone important was paying attention to her, and for the first time, she felt like somebody? One morning, Sandra woke up to the buzz of her phone. A message from David lit up her screen and it says, "Good morning, beautiful. I had a dream about you." She smiled, hugging the phone to her chest. Her stomach rumbled loudly, reminding her that she had only soaked gari for dinner the night before, and there was no food left in the room. The last 200 naira she had was what she used to print an assignment. She sighed as she went outside to brush her teeth. When she returned, Anita, who was scrolling through her own phone, looked at her and said, "Now wow, babe, you dey smile like person wey win lottery." Sandra nodded. "My dear, this one pass lottery o. Na jackpot. Can you believe the governor's son is asking me out?" she said, spinning around slowly. Anita raised an eyebrow. You okay? Who know you for this Lagos? Babe, I don't tell you say, for this country where we dey, we must fake it till we make it. Anita's smile faded. You dey play with fire, babe. What if he finds out, say you no be the same person, or you no be who you claim to be? If it end in shame or... Sandra looked down, thinking, but what if it ends in something better? What if I can fake it long enough for him to fall in love with the real me, even if I used a lie to get his attention? Anita didn't respond. She just shook her head and turned back to her screen. Later that evening, David called. Hey babe, she said, trying to sound confident. I want to see you, Sandra. Let's meet this weekend by 7 p.m. at Sky Lounge. I'll send my driver to pick you up. Sandra's stomach dropped. Sky Lounge. It was where the high and mighty dined. She couldn't even afford water there. But backing out now would ruin everything. Hello? Are you still there? He asked. Yes, but there'll be no need to send your driver, she said. My driver will bring me. Sandra sat on her bed, shaking like catfish that's about to be used for pepper soup. It don't happen, no. Who send me work? Anita noticed the change of mood and dropped her novel. Babe, now who die? David wants us to meet on Saturday, she said hastily. Her throat felt dry. How is that a problem? Anita asked. Have you forgotten that I am Sandra Williams, the billionaire heiress? How am I supposed to meet with the governor's son looking like this? This one Agbegio, Anita said. Have you called your mother? You are right, oh, she said. She picked up her phone and dialed her mother. Hello? Mama, I beg. I don't know how you want to do am, but I need 100k urgently. Hello, Sandra. Which money again? Her mother asked. Maybe last week I sent you 50k. I don't get money, oh. Mama now, abi you no want make I graduate again? I don't tell you say I no get shishi. If your school no gree you graduate, make you pack your things come back house, make we for run this business together. Sandra dropped the call and sat back on the bed. What did your mother say? Anita asked. She doesn't have money, Sandra replied. Anita thought for a while. Then she said, oh yeah, come, let's go to my cousin's place in Surulere. She has a boutique. I believe she can lend you something classy. Sandra jumped from the bed in excitement. Now God go bless you for me. But I don't have transport, she whispered. Anita rolled her eyes. You this girl. Don't worry, I'll pay. Babe, you are the best, Sandra said. I owe you this one. The two girls laughed. They made their way to the boutique on Saturday morning. Anita had arranged with her cousin to allow her driver pick and drop Sandra at Sky Lounge. Sandra had picked out a soft peach lace gown, gold heels, and a matching purse. By the time she looked at herself in the mirror, she didn't recognize the reflection staring back. Her hair, her makeup, they all looked like money. She looked like Sandra Williams. David smiled as soon as he sighted her coming out of the borrowed black SUV. You are even more beautiful in real life, he said, taking her hand. Sandra smiled back. Her heart was beating so fast that it almost jumped out of her chest. Babe, calm down, she advised herself. No go spoil this thing, no. David led Sandra into a private dining area at the hotel's rooftop restaurant. The view overlooked the Lagos skyline. Sandra tried to focus on the scenery, but her mind was spinning. She had never been anywhere this fancy before. The glass table sparkled. The plates looked too expensive to touch. She carefully placed her phone beside her, reminding herself not to talk too much, for fear that her real accent might slip out. So, David began with a charming smile. What's it like being the daughter of Chief Williams? Sandra's throat went dry. She took a sip of water and forced a soft smile. Busy. He travels a lot, and I'm barely home these days too. You know, busy managing the family's chains of businesses. It's exhausting. David nodded. That's admirable. I haven't quite met rich girls who actually want to work. Sandra smiled. I love being independent. Maybe that's why. I like that, David said, smiling. Dinner arrived. Sandra had never seen food served this way before. She copied David's movements carefully, trying not to look out of place. David leaned forward. You are not like the others, Sandra. There's something real about you. I feel like I can trust you. Sandra nearly choked on her food. After dinner, he walked her to the car and opened the door like a perfect gentleman. Let's do this again, soon. Sure, she replied with a nervous smile. As the car pulled away, her smile faded. She had survived the dinner, but each lie only created a deeper hole she wasn't sure she could climb out of. Back at her small apartment, Sandra removed all her borrowed items and dropped them on the bed, then collapsed beside them. Her heart was still pounding from the date. Anita sat up immediately. Babe, how did it go? Sandra stared at the ceiling. I think he's serious about me. He wants another date. Anita hissed. Now wow, Sandra. This your play don't pass, be careful. Why don't you come out clean and tell him the truth? Sandra sat up. I know, right? But I'm scared. I might end up losing him. Is it not better you lose him now than get yourself into trouble? Anita said. The thing is, I'm already in love with him. Sandra replied. Aww, Anita said. Wake up, Jerry, from your dream before it's too late. Who sent you love for here? I thought it was all about the attention and money before, eh? It was. But right now, I want more. I want his heart, Sandra said. Anita raised a brow. It's all right. Continue, yeah? But don't say I didn't warn you. Later that night, Sandra lay in bed, scrolling through Instagram. David had posted a picture of their dinner with the caption, Time well spent with someone special. Hashtag Sandra Williams. The comments were already flooding in. Who is she? She's so beautiful. Sandra Williams? Ah, sounds rich. Future governor's wife. Sandra's stomach twisted. She clicked on the comment section. Anxious. Then she saw something that made her blood run cold. A girl had tagged another user and commented, This baby, no be the same Sandra wey no dey show face for IG. Something no add up. Sandra's hands began to shake. She didn't even know Sandra Williams was the name of a real woman whose father was also an oil magnate. Ah, I don't enter one chance. She quickly switched her account to private, but she knew it wouldn't be the last time. The more David posted about her, the more people would start asking questions. And in Nigeria, secrets don't stay buried for long. The next morning, Sandra woke up to a voice note from David. His deep, smooth voice filled the room. Sandra, my dad is hosting a dinner party this weekend. Just a few political friends and family. I want you to come with me. Please, say yes. Sandra sat up slowly, staring into space. Jesus, she whispered. Anita looked over from the mirror. Waiting again. He wants me to meet his family. As in the state house. Anita blinked. My sister, this is no longer a joke. Oh. You are strictly on your own. This one not be restaurant where you fit hide under makeup and fine clothes. People go ask questions. What if somebody will know the real Sandra Williams? Or her papa come dey there? Wetin you go do? I no fit say no, she said. If I refuse, him go suspect say something dey wrong. But if you go, na gen be that oh, Anita finished. Sandra spent the rest of the day on her phone, researching real people who had pretended to be someone else and pulled it off. Most of their stories didn't end well. Some went to jail, others lost everything. But Sandra had come too far to stop now. She would find a way to survive one more lie, one more dinner, even if it meant risking exposure in front of the governor himself. Saturday came like a flash. Sandra borrowed a long emerald green gown from Anita's cousin again and wore a pair of second-hand gold earrings. Her hair was styled into a neat bun and her makeup was flawless. From the outside, she looked like she belonged in high society, but inside, she was falling apart. David's driver picked her up outside a posh building in Lekki. She had arrived there earlier and pretended to come out of the building when the driver arrived. They drove for over 30 minutes until they reached a tall gate with several armed men. As they approached the gate, the security guard asked for her name, but David leaned forward. She's with me, he said. The guard nodded respectfully and waved them through. Sandra's stomach twisted. She hated how easily he said the name, a name that didn't belong to her. After passing through the protocol, they arrived at a mansion. It was massive. Tall white pillars, armed security, and a fleet of luxury cars parked out in front. Oh boy, see house, Sandra whispered to herself. Inside the compound, lights danced from the garden area, where the party had already begun. Guests sipped champagne under white tents. A live band played soft high-life music. Sandra clutched her purse tightly as David helped her out of the car and introduced her to everyone with pride. This is Sandra, he said, over and over. She's the daughter of Chief Williams. She smiled, laughed, and nodded like a trained actress. But when David's father, the governor, finally walked up to them, her hands went cold. He gave her a long look before extending his hand. So, you are the mystery girl? Governor Richard said. I've heard a lot about you. Sandra forced a smile, praying he couldn't see through her. Governor Richard's handshake was firm, and his eyes were sharp. Sandra felt like a spotlight had been turned on her soul. He didn't smile. He just kept staring at her, like a teacher who is trying to catch a lying student. So, he said slowly, your father is Chief Williams, the oil magnate from Port Harcourt? Sandra nodded quickly. Yes, sir. I've met Chief Williams before. Good man. Reserved. It's been a while though. How's he doing? Sandra's mind scrambled. She had no idea who Chief Williams was, or even if he really existed. He's doing well, sir. He's in Dubai for business, she replied, faking a confident smile. The governor raised a brow, but said nothing. Instead, he turned to David. Your mother is inside. Introduce her to your guests." As they walked away, Sandra's knees almost buckled. "David," she whispered, "your dad doesn't seem to like me." David laughed. "Don't mind him. He's like that with everyone. He's just being protective." But Sandra couldn't shake the feeling that the governor wasn't convinced. He might have smiled politely, but his eyes were digging something. Inside the mansion, the decor was breathtaking. Chandeliers, marble floors, and portraits of powerful people lined the hallway. David introduced her to his mother, a graceful woman dressed in blue lace, who hugged her warmly and said, "We've heard so much about you. It's nice to finally meet the lady my son won't stop talking about." Sandra smiled again and wished the ground would swallow her. She was in deep shit now, and with each word she said, she dug the hole even deeper. And now she had no idea how to climb out. As the evening went on, Sandra did her best to keep up with the conversations at the dinner party. The other guests were children of ministers, CEOs, and ambassadors. They spoke in polished accents and dropped names of schools abroad like Harvard, Cambridge, and Yale. Sandra nodded and smiled, pretending to understand, pretending to belong. One of the girls at the table, a tall and confident lady named Mimi, tilted her head as she looked at Sandra. "I've never heard of your father before," she said, sipping her wine. "What company does he run again?" Sandra's heart jumped. M-Tech Group of Companies," she replied, repeating a name she had read on a blog earlier that week. Mimi narrowed her eyes. "Oh, that sounds familiar. I think my uncle mentioned it once." Sandra forced a laugh. "Yeah, my dad likes to stay behind the scenes." Mimi smirked. "Strange, for someone behind the scenes. He sure has a daughter who knows how to steal the spotlight." The comment stung. Sandra smiled tightly, but inside her, panic was rising. She could tell Mimi wasn't buying the act. Later, as Sandra stood by the balcony to catch her breath, David came to join her and placed a gentle hand on her waist. "You okay?" She nodded. "Just needed some air." He looked into her eyes. "I'm serious about you, Sandra. I haven't felt this way about anyone in a long time." Sandra's heart stopped. Before she could say what was on her mind, David interrupted her. "I know we just started, but I want to take this seriously. You are the kind of woman I can see a future with." Sandra smiled weakly, but her stomach turned. She felt as if the ground should open and just swallow her. The following week, Sandra could barely concentrate in class. Her lecturer's voice sounded like an old radio, as her thoughts drifted between her campus life and the luxurious world David had dragged her into. Every time her phone buzzed, her heart jumped, afraid that someone had finally exposed her. Anita nudged her during the lecture. "Now your boyfriend dey buzz your phone like this?" Sandra looked down. 5 missed calls, 4 chats, all from David. She opened the chats. "Can I see you today? Something important I want to talk about. Please pick your call. I have a surprise for you," he said. That evening, as they sat by a quiet spot near the Lekki shoreline, the setting sun painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, David turned to her with a nervous smile. "I've been thinking," he said, "about us, about the future." Sandra's palms began to sweat. "I know it's fast," he continued, "but I don't care. I just want to be with you. Not just for now, but forever. I have spoken to my mom about you. Ah, Sigbege, Sandra thought. I'm not saying let's get married tomorrow, David said with a soft chuckle. But I want us to be engaged. I want you to know I'm serious about you and that you're not just a phase. Sandra stared at him, speechless. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. An engagement? She that couldn't even afford toothpaste some days. How could she become the future wife of a governor's son when her entire life was built on a lie? David reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. He didn't open it. He simply held it out to her with a nervous smile, his eyes filled with hope. It's not official yet, he said softly. You don't have to wear it now, but just think about it. I want you to know that I'm committed to you, Sandra. Sandra took the box with trembling hands. Her throat was dry. She nodded slowly, forcing a smile. I'll think about it, she said. David looked relieved. He leaned over and kissed her forehead. No pressure, just don't take too long. My dad is traveling for a few weeks. When he returns, I want to properly introduce you, officially, as my fiancée. Sandra nearly dropped the box. Back in the hostel that night, she sat on her bed in silence. Anita walked in and saw the open box on the table. Inside, a beautiful diamond ring sparkled under the bulb. It's a lie, Anita screamed. Engagement? Babe, no be juju be this. Sandra didn't respond. Anita paced the room. You no go tell this guy the truth. You wan marry Governor Pikin with fake name, fake family, fake everything? Okay, tell me. What will you say during the introduction? When they ask about your parents, where will you bring them from? Sandra covered her face with her hands. I don't know, Anita. I don't know. Make una help me, oh. I did not know this thing would get this far. I just wanted to feel rich and loved. Just for once in my life. But now, I don't even know how to stop it. Anita sat beside her. You need to make a decision fast, girl. Either you come out clean and lose everything, or you keep lying and risk something worse. The next day, Sandra skipped class. Her mind was too heavy. She stayed in her room, curled up with the ring box in her hands, staring at it like it held all the answers to her problems. The words, when my dad returns, I want to introduce you officially, kept echoing in her head. Her phone buzzed again. It was a voice note from David. Hey babe, hope you're okay. I'm already missing you. We should travel this weekend. Just us. To Ghana? Maybe. Or Cape Town. Sandra dropped the phone like she had received an electric shock. How could she go to Ghana when her bank account balance was only 72 naira? Later that evening, she walked down the muddy path to the local provision store to buy gari and granuts. Just as she paid, a voice called from across the road. Sandra! Sandra Okafor! She froze. A familiar face ran across the road. It was Musa, her childhood friend from Mushin. He was wearing a dusty jeans, rubber slippers, and a big grin. I've been thinking say you don't travel abroad though. You just disappear like that. Sandra forced a smile. Musa, long time oh. You know the pickle again? Musa asked. Even Chinedu talk say you don't dey date big man now. I been a lie? She shook her head. I've just been busy. Musa looked at her suspiciously. Busy? With your governor boyfriend, happy? Her eyes widened. How you take know that one? Eh? Social media now, e don cast o. Sandra, people dey share una picture everywhere. Sandra felt the ground spin. If Musa knew how many others from her past had seen those photos, and how many before someone connected the dots. That night, back in her room, she deleted over 50 pictures from her Instagram page. But it was too late. The past she was trying to bury was already crawling into her present. By Monday morning, Sandra's anxiety had skyrocketed. Every noise, every vibration from her phone made her flinch. She barely slept, and her face was starting to show the cracks of stress behind the fake glow she maintained online. While walking out of class that afternoon, a message popped up on her screen from an unfamiliar handle, Ninja Gist Unfiltered, and it read, "Hello Sandra, if that's even your real name. I run a small blog, and some people have sent me your story. Let's talk before I publish anything. You might want to explain yourself first." Sandra stopped in her tracks. Her legs suddenly felt heavy. "Anita," she gasped, running back to the house. She burst into their room, breathless. "Someone knows. A blogger. He wants to talk." Anita's eyes widened. "You see wetin I dey tell you since. If to say you don't do the needful things, all this one for be story." Sandra showed her the DM. "Wetin make I do?" "Make I reply?" she asked Anita. "First of all, block him. Then make your account private again." Sandra nodded. Her hands were shaking, like someone having stage fright. But it didn't stop there. 2 hours later, another message came in from a second blog account. Then another one. And another one. All hinting at the same thing. Someone had leaked her real identity. "This one no be random," Anita told her. "Somebody will know you, na im do this one." Sandra tried to think. Who knew her well enough to connect her fake online personality with the real one? Was it Musa, Chinedu, or someone from her secondary school? Or was it Mimi, the girl from the dinner party, who clearly didn't trust her? That night, Sandra switched off her phone and lay in silence, staring at the ceiling. Her biggest fear had arrived. Someone out there already knew the truth, and they were ready to use it against her. Sandra stayed offline for 2 whole days. No Instagram, no calls, no messages. She told David she was feeling sick. He offered to send the doctor, but she declined with a shaky excuse. She needed time to think, or even hide. But on Wednesday morning, while waiting for her turn to fetch water, Anita came running towards her, with eyes wide open. "Babe, it don't happen." Sandra turned slowly. "What? Wetin happen?" Anita shoved her phone into her hands.